Poverty is a negation of most human rights, and I think it is the most extreme violation and therefore should be, in fact, at the top of the agenda. Human rights proponents have for a long time done what everyone else does, and that is exclude poverty from their frame of reference. It's just a fact of life, it's unfortunate, but there's not much we can do about it. Now we're starting to see more recognition that if you really live in extreme poverty, you don't enjoy almost any human rights. And it certainly doesn't make much sense to be talking about sophisticated rights like the right to vote or the right to participate, right to freedom of association, freedom of assembly and so on, if you are living in circumstances which require you to scramble all day long just to subsist.
The poverty in our, at least in our region, in our country, is a cause for conflict, unfortunately. And it's clear in most of the conflict that they are usually fighting for resources, and that's why the conflict began. So we believe that if we try to reduce the poverty through different ways and means, including women's access to contraception and reproductive health, it will help for bringing peace and peace building in the country.
Unless and until the government fulfills the economic, social and cultural rights of the people in the underdeveloped country, the voices of the people becomes in civil and political rights. It becomes the result of for the civil and political rights. They agitate against the government.
Economic and social rights are the most fundamental human rights, like education, health, safe drinking water, employment rights, and so many basic rights are included in economic, social and cultural rights. That's why we feel that it's very important to monitor these rights.
At the moment, the economic and social rights cover a vast area, including business and human rights, and we have had complaints on the role of business impacting on environment and impacting on the people. We also have problems with complaints on migrant workers, as well as complaints on community rights.
Poverty is a major problem. It is not that we don't have food. India has got surplus food, both wheat and rice. We have got surplus. We are exporting wheat. But the problem is interstate distribution is not very effective. Storing of food is not very effective. So we are not able to timely distribute these articles. So sort of this monitoring help them to achieve a better result.
One of the issues that we are looking closely at it, that these rights should be respected for everybody. And when they make the policy, the budget and everything, it should be really gender sensitized, because we cannot really bring development in a country and prosperity in a country with one gender and one sex.
The existence of extreme poverty, at least, really does violate rights, and that needs to be accepted and established. Once that's done, then obviously it's a question of coming up with programs and approaches which will resolve that. 20 years ago, there were relatively few strong ideas out there, relatively little experience in the human rights world. Today, that's not the case. There are many techniques that are well known for tackling poverty from a human rights perspective. In many ways, economic and social rights policy can be boiled down to fiscal policy, tax policy, finance policy. Governments choose where they're going to spend their money. Most governments end up choosing to spend their money, to the extent we're talking about the social sector, on the wealthy or on the middle classes. They choose to exclude the poor or to implement policies that are not at all progressive. If they were to change those policies, then the situation of the poor would be radically changed.